this episode today. Normally, I would give you the typical introduction about what the title is today, which I will do very shortly. But also, this one is totally unscripted. Besides the title that came to me, that I jotted down, but I have no notes on this. I'm really just going to hopefully not ramble, but ask a question or make a statement that is really veiled as a question. But I want you to consider this discussion that we're having today. Before I do that, even though I'm hoping that each episode, as I intend it to be, comes across to you as original, genuine, and curious from me as the producer of these episodes and of the book, Resilience, the Beauty of Presence, Process Models for Life. I want you to at least appreciate that there's nothing here that is made up. Certainly, I have cited some already well-written and well-received books and authors out there who are well-versed and educated beyond my capacity. But in reading their perspectives on life, on now, on presence, on leadership, those things help me to continue my self-discovery journey on what I'm sharing with you are my experiences, the things of the past that have at least helped me to contextualize what I present to you in these episodes. So, as I said before, my observations and how I communicate them to you is just my humble rendition of what I believe connects all of us. Yes, we have differences. I'm fatter than you, older than you, slower than you, talk faster and less intelligible than you do. But I think we have more in common as far as our sincere intent to present and share our best each day. I don't think we ever want to go into the day thinking, yeah, I'll give my worst today. Maybe we do that unknowingly, but I really cannot accept that we go into these moments, this day in this life, with a thought that, yeah, I'm gonna half-ass this, I'm gonna sabotage my own life today, I'm gonna take one step forward and 3 steps back, intentionally. I might do that, certainly I do that, as I mentioned before, when I play golf, when I miss a note in a melody or trying to come up with some clever way of improvising over My Funny Valentine. But my intent is to bring forth my best, I guess just that, bring forth my best in that event, in that moment. Although, to my detriment, I'm still thinking left side brain stuff instead of letting my creativity, or not my creativity, as I mentioned before, we don't create anything. We can only produce from what's been created for us in this world. Those resources that have been put around us, in us, inside of us, to do what we came here to do. Now, of course, that's with the presupposition that we know what we came here to do, and we accept and are aware and exposing ourselves to that reality. So, pardon me for the very long preamble introduction to this episode, but I cannot claim to change your life today with this episode. But I do claim and propose to you that I can absolutely change your perspective on this present moment. This topic today is called Making Love to God. I know, let me say it again though. Making love to God. And now, I kind of took up most of the time in the preamble to getting this topic, but I might have to do a part 2 if I don't finish this today. But just think about it. If you consider that book, that I mentioned to you in many episodes before, 3 magic words. Again, I will give you the spoiler alert if you never heard that episode on that book, or if you haven't read the book itself. The 3 magic words in the book, written by Mr. U.S. Anderson about 5 or 6 decades ago, maybe 7 decades ago. Those 3 magic words: you are God. Now, no, we won't get into it today. You might have a vehement rejection of that notion. There's only one God out there, or you can only get through it through Jesus Christ or Muhammad or any other thousands of prophets that are cited in the books of the Bible, Torah, or Quran. We won't get into that today. But let's just say, if you can accept for this purpose, this episode today, you are God. By the way, means your partner, your spouse, your significant other also is God. But in this episode, I'm saying making love to God. That might sound offensive or, totally, against, I guess, our nature. But as I mentioned to you in other episodes as well, if that common thread, that common blood, that common source of us that I'm calling love, or that heartbeat, that's inside of us. If that's the love inside of you and I, if you accept that as a commonness of us, then making love to God shouldn't seem that far-fetched. Meaning, even if you didn't have a partner, think about that. Even if you didn't have a partner, you weren't married, you're single, you're independent for right now. Just think about that. Can you make love to God as you are God? I don't mean sit there for days on end masturbating with, sex toys. Can you make love to God without anyone else there with you? So definitely we need a part 2 on this. But making love to God, just let that, marinate for a moment or two. That the concept. I know we're thinking, maybe many of you are thinking God's out there, in the sky somewhere. But if you can take the context of you are God, and so are people you encounter each day, friends, family, foe, enemies, that's God too. So just for a moment, for these last moments in this episode, just consider that. The notion of making love to God. Is that possible? We'll get into that in part 2. Until then, stay present, stay current. You know what time it is. It's always 8:20.